Yo, what up YouTube? It is 12 July 2024. As of yesterday, the DCS update 2.9.6 or something or another released. And with that, we have some updates to the F-4 and the addition of the Afghanistan map. We are currently on the Afghanistan map. We're at Kandahar Air Base, down in the southern portion of Afghanistan. If you're new to the channel, or if you've watched before, you may or may not know that there's a prior KC-135 pilot back in the day. So never actually had boots on the ground in Afghanistan at any point, but I have spent many a day, probably weeks, up in the skies above Afghanistan doing air refueling back in the 2015 to 2018 time frame. So plans to kind of fly around, just give you guys a tour of Afghanistan, as much as I know anyways, and give you a chance to kind of see the map as a whole. Currently, in the current early state of the Afghanistan map, really only the southern portion is actually in high detail, so we'll fly around kind of in the southern portion, and we'll head up north. I did a quick test of what it looks like up there, and it looks like it's pretty decent as far as like the scenery is concerned. Looks like maybe some satellite imagery, but none of the airports, such as Bagram or Kabul, up in the north are modeled. So you can see them on the ground, because, like I said, it's satellite imagery, but nothing, like none of the buildings are built up or anything like that, but still gonna be cool flying up there and checking out the scenery. So hop in the cockpit here. As you see, we've got her hot started already. Just make sure the wheel chock's removed. We'll go ahead and blast on out of here.
Yeah, done.
Cool, looks like you already had that knocked out. This is a single player mission I have made up. There are some targets down at waypoint 1. Let's see if it even has it.
Roger that, sir. Waiting. Roger. Waiting.
You got it. New steering set.
So yeah, I have some targets set up out there at waypoint 1.
Let's do it.
Apparently Jester now will call out your true airspeed while you are bombing. So I'm gonna check that out. See how good that is. So we'll plan on doing some just traditional manual bombing. See if he's calling out the airspeeds as prescribed.
All right, tell me, just how low are we going today? Music to my... Oh, I'll be puckering for this one.
So far, performance seems pretty good, although it's
good. Airspeed's coming alive.
just have a few static aircraft set up, nothing too
80
crazy.
knots. 100 knots.
Alright, let's rotate. Gear up. Flaps up.
Gears moving. Gear up. Flaps up.
Heading here, kind of southwest from Kandahar. One of the things I remember from Afghanistan flying over it was down kind of in the southern portion of the country, right by Kandahar, is kind of this like very like sandy looking like red clay. Not sure exactly what it is, but it is very distinctive when you're flying over. It's like, as you can see, kind of out this way, you start to hit some of the mountains, you know, maybe some you know, fertile land where they do some farming, whatnot, but down in this section, it's all like sand dunes, very deserty type terrain. So yeah, like straight up, like there's this river here, and it goes from that into what appears to be more fertile land. It's a very interesting geographic feature there. As you see, it's pretty massive. Takes up a good southern portion of the country. So, if you're unfamiliar with Afghanistan, southern portion of the country is very like desert. And then even up once you get up towards Kandahar, a little more vegetation going on and stuff, but still mostly desert. But once you get up to the far north part, it is absolutely beautiful. It's massive mountains. Like, if the country wasn't, you know, the way it is, I could definitely see it being a very like a winter sports mecca. I said massive mountains, glaciers, high altitude lakes, gorgeous scenery up that way. Alright, we'll just level off here at 14,000 for the time being. Get the autopilot on, and then I'm gonna have to pull up the bombing table real quick. Also, keto heat on. Found out the hard way the other day while I was flying. There's apparently an issue where if you don't have the pitot heat on and you start like a very rapid dive after you've been up at altitude for a while, the aircraft oscillates rapidly. It was nuts. I thought I was about to fall out of the sky, but eventually recovered. Pull up the bombing table here. We'll do direct marking 2s. That looks good. Pull up the map here to see what altitude our target's at. They're at about 3,700 feet. So let's drop them at 6,700 feet. Not 67,000. .30-degree dive angle. So 140 mils. So frames are starting to get a little bit choppy right now, but that may also just be the computer getting really hot. I'm in Germany right now, and we've had some normally hot weather in the last few days. So let's go 140 mils. $6,700 feet. 400. Okay. Let's just do pairs. It's fine. Anyways, about the heat. I was flying with my squadron last night, and one of the guys who's in the Netherlands, it was 32 degrees Celsius where he was, and in the middle of the mission, I guess the CPU just kind of like crapped out on him, and computer crashed. So 140 mils. $14 miles out. It's off to the south, pretty much due south. Should just have some lightly armored vehicles out that way that we can bomb. So we got mess room on. We got right inboard, left inboard. Direct mode. Let me switch over to bombs. They're showing armed now. Just gonna offset just a little bit, so hopefully I can spot them a little bit easier. Like it's going to be much more difficult to spot them than I originally anticipated. Especially when you're flying directly over them. Where are these things? Should have labels on. So not sure if I'm going to be able to spot them. It doesn't seem like the labels are on. I'm not seeing... Well, in that case, let's just find some notable terrain. It's going to be difficult in this sand abyss. Alright. Jester's definitely not calling out speeds. So let's try dive toss.
Roger. Gotcha.
See if he'll call it in dive toss. There are these lights on, so we can hopefully cross-check what he's calling out. I'll actually set it into dive toss. Now, it'd never be a good stream if things went just as planned. Nose fall.
Captured. Okay.
Might have been a little bit too low there. That's pretty much already through 6,700 feet.
Captured.
Still definitely not calling out speeds. At least in those two modes. Alright, so in the interest of time, let's go ahead and just jettison all these bombs. And we'll continue on with our tour of Afghanistan. I have to read up on the patch notes and see what it takes to have Jester calling out your speeds.
Roger that. Steering set.
So now we're gonna head on up to the northwest, go up through Lashkargah and then over Camp Bastion. Some places I've never stepped foot in, but I remember flying over back in the day. Yeah, definitely feeling some performance hits on this map. Again, not 100% sure if it's just heat related or what. Let's see real quick how I can pull up the frame rate counter. This really freeze. That's great. Just trying to look up one keybind, and it's going to take 5 minutes for this thing to figure its life out. I even clicked the wrong button because I need to go to UI layer over here. At this point, I just wish I could cancel out of it. I don't need to see my frames. Thanks, DCS. Thanks. Oh, this is unbelievable. There we go. Frame. Is it frame rate counter? Right control pause. Just as I suspected. Again, 60 frames per second right now. Let's move that right there for you guys to see. You can see there's just like, so I'm getting decent frames, but there's just like a little bit of like stuttering that I get every once in a while. Set up a tanker with a attack and 69 Yankee. That doesn't seem to be working either. Cool. So yeah, all that flying, you can still see we're over this, you know, very interesting geography down here in the southern portion of Afghanistan. I think once we get a little bit closer up towards Lashkargah and Camp Bastion, that's where, again, it just goes from this into a lot more, you know, farmland, just more hospitable terrain. Just so wild the way it goes from this, and it's just like an immediate divide. Fuel wise, still got 10.7. Do you have a tanker position out there? Like I said, I don't look like the tack hands working on it, but if we absolutely need it, we'll let's pull up the F10 map. So yeah, as you see, there's that divide. And pure desert sand dunes into the farmland. Still dry up in this area, but you got the river running through it, and you see all the farmland situated and irrigated off the rivers. So we got Lashkargah off to our west here. This little city down here. Have an interesting story flying over there that we'll save for a beer at a later time. Camp Ash, and you kind of see it up there just off the canopy. Again, another place I never went to, but you know, a lot of my buddies and C-17, C-130s, they flew out that direction quite a bit. Actually saw on Hog earlier today, someone posted a picture of like the what's the word I'm looking for, the high resolution Camp Bastion or whatever, and like that's it. Didn't look too spectacular to them. So again, having never been there, I don't know.
Steering to next turn point is in.
Pretty nice long runway there. It's a big military complex out this way. All abandoned now. Now there's Camp Bastion. We'll head on up to the north now, and now we'll start getting into the really pretty terrain. It'll be interesting to see like how well that is modeled currently, because I mentioned I have the whole Afghanistan map right now, but as far as I understand, they've only released the southern portion, like under the high fidelity. So it'll be interesting to see if even the terrain and stuff is mapped at a lower fidelity currently. Interesting thing there. Might be an old FOB or something. Forward operating base. Nothing on the map. Yeah, as we head on up north here, obviously much more rugged terrain starts to rise quite a bit. It just gets more and more dramatic as you go north and east. Back in my KC-135 days, it was actually pretty cool. We would, with our ground proximity warning system, when you had it in terrain mode, it would show you the highest elevation and the lowest relative elevation on our screens. And when we get far enough north, you'd actually pick up Mount K2, and it was just wild. You'd be refueling at like mid-20s or so, mid-20,000 feet, and you wouldn't be getting terrain warnings, but it was just wild to see that, like, even all the way up here, I am still lower than the mountains up to the north. Let's see if that tanker... Yeah, he's still flying up there. I think we might go hit him up, just top off. That way we can continue our Afghanistan tour. Coming from the southern flat part of Afghanistan and transitioning up into the mountains now. We're up at 14,000 feet. As you can see, probably gonna have to climb a little bit here to the not too distant future. Look down in between these mountains, all these little villages. What a different life it must be. Absolutely beautiful though. Yeah, again, during my time in the 135 flying over Afghanistan and stuff, we actually kind of dreaded the Afghanistan missions, at least during the time I was flying. Things were a little bit slower there, so, you know, when people think of flying tankers and stuff, they're like, oh, it's gotta be so boring, you're just flying in circles all the time. And, I'd say that's not really the case a vast majority of the time. You know, if the mission was fragged right, we actually stayed pretty busy flying around. You know, you'd get a flight of fighters or bombers coming up, you know, once every 30-45 minutes or so. So it kept you busy. It was fun. It was actually relatively dynamic. I'd say that was the majority of the missions that we flew. You know, it was good fun, stayed busy. But when we came out to Afghanistan, like I said, things had slowed down quite a bit out here. So oftentimes we would roll out here with a full combat load of fuel. We would arrive, and the weather would be bad, so our receivers wouldn't show up. They wouldn't even take off because the weather was too bad. But then we're just sitting, and that's where the stories of tankers just fly in circles kind of comes from, because we would sit there and we were there as reliability gas, essentially, just in case they took off. Mountains keep getting taller and taller out this way. Starting to see a little more greenery as well. See where we are in relation to that tanker. Okay, he's actually turning back towards us, so that's actually going to be perfect. Hopefully I have easy radios on. I actually forgot what the 305. It's like I forgot what the frequency was that I set for it.
Texaco 1-1, Chevy 1-1, request rejoin.
Our 27,000. Actually, didn't catch what speed he said.
Rejoin.
Let's just ask him again.
Good to go. 1-1. Chevy. 1-1. Request rejoin.
$280, perfect. Alright, TACAN still doesn't want to work. I think I saw another update with the F4 is when you get within 100 meters or so of the tanker and you open your air refueling door, Jester should call ready pre-contact for you. So that'll be kind of nice. I have a button mapped for it, but in any case, having him just request it even easier.
Unable.
Jester's still in dive toss mode.
Back to standard scan pattern.
I think that might be our tanker right there.
Right 5 degrees, 39 miles, 25,000. Locking bogey, right 5, 38 miles. Good luck.
Welcome up on 26,000. We'll level off 1,000 feet below him. Actually visual with him way the heck out there. So it's more views of the Afghanistan countryside, north of Kandahar. Anyone watching that wasn't watching earlier, kind of mentioned just the very distinct difference between south of Kandahar versus north of Kandahar. It goes from just absolutely flat sand dune type desert to this, like all like just you have to see it to believe it. It's basically a river that kind of runs along, and it separates sand dunes from fertile farmland, and then within 20 or so miles of that you're into the mountains. So now I'm visual with them. I've climbed up at pretty much co-altitude with them. Actually sitting a little bit high.
What's our fuel level?
Bro, we're hitting tanker. I actually wonder if I can just tell Jester
We have a friendly KC-135, 12 o'clock, 10 miles. Yes, sir.
See, does he tune something different? Is the question. Oh shit. It's in a left-hand orbit here.
I lost. Back to standard scan pattern. Returning to regular scan. Target paints, it is a friend.
So yeah, back 2016, 2017. This would be me rejoining on myself. Rejoined here on young RHINO. In this case, U-135, orbiting over Afghanistan. We'll request stern. Go ahead and drop back to a stern. And drop the seat. And then when I open the air refueling door, Jester should request, say, ready pre-contact.
Ready, pre-contact.
Nice. Yeah, he did it.
Clear contact.
A little too excited there.
Go forward 6 feet. Come forward 15 feet.
That was pathetic.
Move 1 foot down.
I don't think I've ever refueled this high, so like throttle response is just completely different
Forward 4 feet.
than what I'm used to.
Go forward 10. Nice. That's going to quench her thirst.
You're taking fuel.
You're drifting up. Whoa, you're about to fall off. Drifting aft. You're charging the boom. You're drifting up. Hey, you're drifting aft. Easy with it. Ease forward 1.
I feel like he's a little less annoying too.
Down 1 foot.
Transfer complete. Disconnect.
What?
Ready, recontact. Clear contact.
Come aft 8.
Contact.
Nice, we're in.
You're taking fuel.
You are drifting forward. Okay, we're about to fall off. Drifting aft. You are drifting forward. You're charging the boom. You are drifting forward. You are drifting forward. Whoa, you're about to fall off. Drifting aft. Drifting up. Hey, you're drifting forward. Oops.
Contact. Transfer complete. Disconnect. Ready, recontact. Clear contact.
Go 10 feet forward.
Contact.
We're taking fuel.
You're taking fuel.
Drifting aft. You're charging the boom.
That was
Drifting
way too
forward.
much.
Whoopsies. Come
Fall
6
off.
feet forward. Move 1 foot down.
Contact. Transfer complete. Disconnect. Ready, recontact. Clear contact. Contact.
We're in. Thank you, Tanker. We love you.
You're taking fuel.
Drifting up. Watch it. You're charging the boom. You are drifting forward. You're drifting up. Drifting forward. You're drifting up.
It's like so slow refueling.
A piece of cake, man. You got this. Go back 9. Go back 9.
Barely pulled power.
Ease forward 3 feet.
Contact. Transfer complete. Disconnect. Ready, recontact. Clear contact.
If you really want to challenge put your tanker up at the high 20s. Just throttle response is just so much different up here.
Ease down 5 feet. Okay, cool. We're taking fuel. Whoa, you're about to fall off. This basket just doesn't like us today. Hey, you're drifting aft.
Ready, pre-contact.
Move forward 5 feet. We're in. Thank you, tanker. We love you.
You're taking fuel.
Hey, you're charging the boom. Whoa, you're about to fall off. You're drifting aft. You're drifting up. Hey, you're drifting forward. Oops. Drifting forward. Hey, you're drifting forward.
Ready, pre-contact. Contact.
Tree is thirsty.
You're taking fuel.
Watch it. You're about to fall off.
Painful.
You're drifting aft. Ah, just missed it. Come forward 10 feet.
I gotta do really unplug me.
Ready, pre-contact.
We're in. Thank you, tanker. We love you.
You're taking fuel.
Watch it. You're charging the boom. Drifting forward. Drifting up. Drifting forward. Whoa, you're about to fall off. Hey, you're drifting aft. Drifting aft. Hey, you're drifting up. Drifting forward.
Ready, pre-contact. Ready, pre-contact.
I'll do one more plug here.
Go back 8 feet. We're connected.
You're taking fuel.
You are charging the boom. You are drifting forward.
Transfer complete. Ready, pre-contact. Clear contact.
Want one more.
Go 10 feet forward. Down 7 feet.
Bro, come on, plug
Move
me.
5 feet down. Suck 'em dry.
You're taking fuel.
Drifting aft. Hey, you're about to fall off, man.
Transfer complete. Disconnect. Ready, pre-contact. Clear contact.
Nah, we're done, dude. So frustrating because, like, you're in good position and he won't plug you, so then, like, you overcorrect. So you add, like, I was sitting, like, one light back. So I add a little bit of power, and then I just one little bit of power ends up pushing me too far forward. So then he plugs me, and then 2 seconds later he unplugs. But we got a good bit of gas now, so we're gonna split here and head up to Mazar-e Sharif. Other left. Just drop the outboard externals. Alright, directly over some poor village. So far, up at least up this far north, the terrain still looks pretty nice, at least. Like, I could definitely see, you know, having air battles or you know, some counterinsurgency up in this direction. Not 1,000% sure where the southern portion of the map ends and where the northern and eastern portions begin. But like I said, only the southern portion is currently like full fidelity. I guess the fact that there's airports here tells me I'm still in the probably still in the fully modeled area. Now that looks rough, but I think it's just re-rendering. So, Quart, ASDFG, unfortunately I don't read or understand Arabic, so won't be able to answer or comment back to you, bud. Pretty cool, those red streaks going through the mountains. Pulling the throttles back a little bit just to make sure we're conserving fuel. Burning a little over 6,000 pounds per hour right now, so that gives us about a little under 2 hours of playtime, probably about an hour and a half. So heading up towards Mazar-e Sharif here. Again, another place I haven't been, but I had some buddies who spent some time in the mez, as they called it. $140 miles out. We're going just under 9 miles a minute. Should be there in a little over 10, 15 minutes. So just based on our fuel state, I am thinking maybe instead of going up to Mazar-e Sharif, just heading east towards Kabul, Jalalabad, and hit up this area, because this is where the peaks are impressive, up in this, like, very impressive up in this direction. So we may skip the mez. We may punch northeast. To be honest, I think in this direction, it's just a lot more of this. Kind of more of like a plateau with jagged crags and stuff. Navigation. Go to...
Okay. New steering is set.
Alright, I'm gonna head northeast up into the bigger mountains. I mean, really all I was going up to the mez for anyways was just to see the airfield up there, which is actually not fully modeled yet, so it would just be looking at Google Maps essentially. So I think we'll get more out of going this way. To the weather. Just so wild to think, like, you know, relatively, you look at these peaks and stuff throughout here, and you're like, oh, that's not that impressive. But when you realize we're at 25,000 feet and they're almost reaching up and touching us, I mean, they're probably 14ers, you know, 13, 14ers. Let's go and let's take a look. Autopilot's off. And we're at 15 now. And I mean, I don't want to get any lower. And they're even a little bit higher out that way. So, I mean, that's probably 14,000 foot peak at least. But just in terms of relative elevation, you're just like, oh, it's not that big. Raise my seat back up. I was wondering why I was sitting so low. Going down there and seeing how tall those mountains are. It's probably going to come back to haunt me. I'm probably going to like flame out on final or something back into Kandahar. I'm descending down and then having to climb all the way back up. I'm going to shoot up to like 30, maybe 29,000. Just for a little bit of extra fuel savings on the way over to kind of the northeast corner of Afghanistan. I'll try and point it out, but there was an area of Afghanistan I remember they used to call Reagan's Nose. We'll try and point that out once we level off here. I'll go back to the F10 map. I always remember it being kind of an especially not dangerous area to fly into. Like, you weren't going to get shot down, but it was very easy to make a wrong turn and end up in Pakistan, which was a definite no-no when we were flying over there. Level back off at 29,000. Oh, shoot, what part was Reagan's nose? I don't know if it was like this area. I think it might have been, yeah, I think it might have been this area, and like this was his, you know, Reagan's nose here. Like if you were over Jalalabad and you're fueling and they cleared your RTB or whatever, you had to make sure you went out this way versus transiting across the border here into Pakistan. So probably another unknown fact about Afghanistan: it actually borders China. So if you want to stump your friends or whatever, ask them what countries border Afghanistan. I mean, I'd guess 90% of the population probably doesn't even know Pakistan or Iran border either, but I can guarantee you they're probably not going to know China. Those high altitude lakes I was talking about. I mean, definitely pull her back now. Let's just go to 3,000 pounds per hour, see what it gives us. We're almost supersonic. Almost in that super cruise. Alright, I will be right back. I'm gonna go grab another brewski as we're here flying over the skies of Afghanistan. Be right back. Alright, I am back. Oh man, just look at my heart rate down in the bottom left corner of the screen. Skyrocketing. You're probably thinking I'm about to have a heart attack. And I have to go down 2 flights of stairs and back up 2 flights of stairs to get to the refrigerator. Yeah, so far, initial impressions of the map. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it's definitely Afghanistan. It's what I remember. You know, really pretty scenery up to the north, down to the south. That just crazy desert. You know, very careful about saying like things that have negative connotations, but that desert wasteland down to the south. I mean, it all looks like what I remembered it. So, you know, impressed in that regard. I don't know, maybe up here towards the north, it kind of seems like the ground textures even are maybe just a little bit more not fully high resolution. I could be wrong there, but that's just going to come with further updates. Like I mentioned earlier, it's so far they've only technically released the southern portion full fidelity. So I think as the improvements come along, and as they release more and more portions of the map, it's probably gonna be my favorite map to fly, to be completely honest with you. I just think there's so much terrain diversity. There's just so much you can do on this map. The performance so far has been good. I've had a few like small stutters, but again, I almost kind of wonder if that's just, you know, in the warm house with no AC and stuff, computers maybe just running a little bit warm. So maybe after this we'll hop in Syria and see how the performance is on the Syria map. It hasn't been bad by any means, but again, just a few little stutters here and there. So I think eventually this map is gonna be sick. There's so much you can do on it. But I would say probably for the time being, unless, you know, one of the squadron, you know, the squadron I fly with ends up doing some Afghanistan missions or whatever, I'll probably uninstall it for the time being, to be honest. That's not saying anything negative about the map. It's just, as it stands, I feel like the southwest portion is probably the most geographically boring portion. So yeah, it's my initial 2 cents. Yeah, it's a huge desert mountain place. Nothing else to expect. I mean, that's 90% of the habitable Earth. So. Oh yeah, it looks like we're just north of Kabul. So that's probably it down in the bowl there, kind of just under that cloud. We'll fly back by it when we head back to Kandahar. Heading into the super high terrain up in this direction. Yeah, I don't feel like this area is like super high res yet either, because yeah, I just remember it being a little bit more impressive up in this this direction. You can just kind of tell, like, the tops of those mounds just about the aircraft. Feel like it could be modeled a little bit better, just to a little bit flat. Kind of see the snow on the top. It just doesn't look fully modeled. So what do we got fuel wise? We're at 8,400. I don't personally think there's much more to see up in this direction the way it's currently modeled, so I think we'll just turn back, head back to Kandahar, land, and then, as we mentioned, I'd say probably in the next couple updates, we might fly back up here in the northeast quadrant, see how things have changed, see if we have any more detail. But yeah, you can just kind of tell, like, that's what is going on, dude. Oh, that's wild. What? Oh, yeah, see, there's some of those lakes I was talking about, too. Like, just that's all these mountains, just freaking sweet-ass lakes. Got glaciers. Man, it'd be a winter sports mecca. I'm telling you. Afghanistan, put it on your calendars. Not for 2024, maybe. Maybe in 20, 30 years, maybe they'll get their act together. But let us navigation divert to, let's see if Kandahar's on here. Probably not.
Okay.
I think that's Kandahar.
You've got steering to the new point.
See if we can still make the mountains dance. Oh, yeah. That is tripping me out, man. But that just proves to you, like, there's still a lot of work to be done on this portion of the map. So we won't judge it too harshly. Just gotta hope they don't forget about it like the F-15E. Is that too soon? This is the DCS Mars expansion. Terrain just warps in front of you. Yeah, if you're just joining, I mentioned this is the northern portion of the map. It's technically still not even in the released state yet, so just flying up here just to see if they've done much work on it or anything yet. As I mentioned earlier, DCS 2.9.6 something or another. update. This is the Afghanistan map. Currently, only the southern portion is released in the full fidelity. So, like I mentioned, we're way up north and east, so not in that zone technically yet. And yeah, once they get this all sorted out and full fidelity, man, it's gonna be so beautiful flying up here. Like, as much as we hated going to Afghanistan in the KC-135, just because the time I was flying there, everything was pretty slow. So it was pretty not the most exciting flights or anything going up there. It was beautiful to just go up there and look at the mountains, map K2 on our terrain feature of our ground proximity warning system. Pretty cool. Flying over, about to fly over Kabul. I imagine straight off our nose there, it's probably Bagram. Kind of notorious these days for the exit from Afghanistan. Yeah, pretty sure that's Bagram. And never actually flew in or out of there, but I always heard, you know, it's high altitude airfield. I would guess it was this direction that you take off into, and you're taking off straight into those mountains. So it was pretty interesting departure in regards to you know, climb out performance and everything. let's check our fuel state. Sorry, I've been texting some buddies and stuff. 7,200 pounds. So that's definitely Kabul. Kabul International. Didn't realize Bagram was that far north and east from Kabul. No, that tracks. Apparently my spatial awareness in 2017 had room to grow. I mean, as you can see, like, if you end up getting the full map here, I mean, it's a pretty large area of operations to work with. Like, we took off in Kabul, what, probably an hour and a half ago. Like, we didn't even go all the way up to Mazar-e Sharif. We cut it short about here, maybe. And then flew out to probably about here or so. And now we're heading back to Kandahar, back to Candyland. We're still 220 miles out. So, yeah, it's going to be a big map and a wide variety of terrain to work with. Yeah, people are going to say, oh, it's desert. You know, same thing we've had all along. But I really don't think that's the case. You know, as we saw going up there to the northeast quadrant, super high peaks, you know, it didn't really look that way in game, but you know, I kind of joked around there for a bit. Looking at the let's see if the terrain, yeah, it even dances around here. I don't know if we're back in, we're probably not in the south quadrant yet. When we get back down in here, we definitely need to take a look and see if, like, the terrain is dancing around. And see if that's an issue just with the non-fully modeled areas yet, or if that's actually just an issue with the map. I hope it's just the non-fully modeled areas. Again, channel 75. Let's just throw that back in. One thing I've noticed, it seems like anytime I come out of the F10 map, like it has to like completely re-render everything. Let's look down here. F10 map. Yeah, see how it has to re-render? We'll add that to the list of things to check when we get back down to the southwest portion of the map. So this is apparently the layout of the DCS Afghanistan map and the way they're releasing things. As I mentioned earlier, the southwest quadrant is what's released now. So right now, as we're currently flying, we're in the Afghanistan east portion, I would guess. So it makes sense that it's not fully rendered yet. Makes sense why, as we were flying to Mazar-e Sharif, like, it looked really good all the way until we kind of started heading out towards Kabul and everything, and that's when like things seemed to start to have to render all the time, and that's where we're getting the dancing mountains and everything. So. See where we're at. Yeah, pretty much once we're abeam Terran Cot here is when we should be back in the southwest map. So yeah, this definitely looks very like low res, so. Again, let's not judge this map yet by how it looked in my video, at least the northeast corner. So that's all still work in progress. I just thought we'd fly up there and just check it out because again, there's a little bit of reminiscing for me. Flying up that way, and one of the things I'll never forget about flying in that part of the world is just how beautiful northeast Afghanistan is. So I was hoping to see that today, but it's just not quite there. Hopefully check back in a few months, and it will be. Sorry about that. Sorry, the wife and kids just got home, so I was helping getting the kids out of the car and everything. So we're back. Where are we at on the map? Still got, what do we got? About 60 miles until we're back in the high fidelity zone. All right, sorry about that. We're back again. Help put the kiddos asleep. So we are back in the high fidelity area. Probably need to start descending, but before we do that, let's take a quick check of the mountains. Yeah, as you can see, these ones aren't. They're not dancing as much. I see very, very minor changes, but not like we were seeing up in the low fidelity area. What else did we mention that we needed to look at back there? So no dancing mountains. Oh yeah, coming from the F10 map back to the cockpit. See if it has to like reload everything. Yeah, so all those issues we were having earlier were definitely just due to it being in the low fidelity area. So that's good to know. So as far as recommendation for the map, like I said, the southwest portion is the only part that's actually fully modeled yet. So if you bought the whole Afghanistan map, you're good, you're future-proofed. But at the same time, like right now, only the southwest portion is actually modeled. Southwest portion looks great. Performance is decent. If you look at my description, I have my computer specs. That's not the most high-end PC, but it runs pretty smooth. Just a few micro stutters here and there. But yeah, once you get outside of that southwest portion of the map, obviously it's just not high fidelity yet. It will be eventually, but just not right now. So I look forward to when it does become high fidelity, because I feel like this map will probably be my favorite once the whole thing is rendered. Just so much geographic diversity throughout. So as it stands right now, if you plan on getting it, it's on sale, $55. That's what I just bought it for. I think once it goes full scale, it's gonna go up to $69. Nice. But just know, if you buy the whole thing, only the southwest quadrant is gonna be full fidelity right now. But again, if you want to future-proof yourself, if you want to get it now, I think this will be probably my primary map. All right, so yeah, we're 39 miles out. Let's go ahead and see real quick. 4,700. We are fully fenced out. Go autopilot off. Start the descent. So if you weren't around for the early part of the video, I kind of talked about this like super crazy geographic feature up here. So south of Kandahar, it is literally just desert wasteland down in Afghanistan. It's crazy how it just goes from this desert wasteland. You got this river that kind of runs, and it goes from that desert wasteland to like fertile farmland, and then up into the mountains. Like, it's still dry on this side, but man, I've just never seen such a dramatic change in geography slash, I guess probably more proper term is just topography. I'm a geography major, but my vocabulary has slipped over the years. But it's just wild how it goes from this to this, and then into like 25,000 plus foot mountains over the span of the country. .717 fan, how's it going, man? We are currently on descent back into Kandahar. Just kind of did a brief tour of the Afghanistan map. The too long didn't read version is I have the whole map. I have all of Afghanistan, but currently only the southwest quadrant is fully rendered, full scale and everything. $20 miles to lose. Gosh, I don't even know what base elevation was here. What planes did I fly in the Air Force? So out of pilot training, I flew KC-135s, which is where I spent, oh man, like I mentioned, I probably spent days, weeks flying over Afghanistan back between the 2015, 2017 time frame. Then I flew T-6s as an instructor pilot back at pilot training for about 4 years, and now I'm currently flying the C-21. How realistic is the map? The southwest portion, I mean, it looks like what I remember Afghanistan looking like. As we mentioned, that's currently the only rendered area of the map is the southwest portion. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Yeah, so this area here in the red is the only portion that's like full fidelity right now. Eventually it's gonna all, like this whole square or rectangle here is gonna be full fidelity, but as it stands right now, only this is fully modeled right now. So like this area looks great. If you go back, I kind of flew up in this area, still a little bit rough. There's some work to be done for sure. Alright, we should be pointed right at Kandahar. Yep, there it is. Yeah, a little bit. What I'm really excited for is when they model the northern portion of the map. That's something that'll always stick with me forever. One thing that'll always stick with me is just this distinctive line here from the desert wasteland of the south to the like farmland, and then rolling up here into the mountains. But once you go way northeast, you start getting into, gosh, I believe it's the Hindu Kush. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you start getting into like some 20,000+ foot mountains up there, and it's It's just wild. On our Jipwis in the terrain mode, we could map Mount K2. Hey, my pleasure, man. It's been an honor. And to be honest, I haven't done much in the grand scheme of things. We'll go ahead, let's go gear down, slots out. Establish yourself on file here at Kandahar. Yeah, I never actually set boots on the ground in Afghanistan or Iraq, but as I mentioned, I spend a lot of time flying over them. So at the time, from about 2015 to 2017, or late 2017, I flew KC-135s. Then I went on to instruct in the T6 at pilot training. And now I currently fly C-21s.
And gear, flaps, pressure, warning lights, anti-skid.
Shootout. Full F stick.
That was pretty good, man.
And on the brakes. So we were, when we'd fly combat missions there, we flew out of another location, and then we'd fly into country, do our refueling, and then we'd fly back to our deployed location. It did, on my last deployment out to the Middle East, it did become an option to actually go out to Kandahar, but I elected not to go out, which in some ways I regret. You know, it'd be cool to say I stepped foot in Afghanistan, but where we were at was a little bit more cush. But speaking of KC-135s, mission wouldn't be complete if I did not have 135 stationed out on the ramp. Oof, yeah. The time I would have been there would have been late 2017, like summer of 2017 to fall. Oh yeah, that's rough. That was one thing I heard from the guys that went out there. Was one of the perks of Kandahar was the chow hall was allegedly much better than where we were normally based out of. got the MIPRs configured KC-135s. Which, in all honesty, I don't think while I was flying we would have flown a MIPRs equipped 135 out to Afghanistan because we didn't have any Navy receivers out there, from what I remember. I'm just gonna park, and then I'll be done. Is there anything in particular you wanted to see? So I don't really have anything in particular going on after this, so I could conceivably refuel and go check things out for you. I did do some air-to-air refueling earlier in the mission, so if you rewind, I don't know if it gives you the option while I'm streaming, but I did do some earlier. It was not my best effort, we'll say that. I'm not necessarily planning on streaming later tonight, but I do regularly stream probably like once a week or so. I kind of do this, I call it the RAGIN with RHINO series, which is where I kind of just hop on DCS, go screw around for a bit. I'll usually go into like the training map, the Hoggett training map, or like one of the through the Inferno maps. And just practice around a little bit. But tonight with the Afghanistan map, I figured I'd just go I'd go fly around on it, just kind of check out some of the notable features that I remembered, all that stuff. But how realistic is the DCS flight modeling now? In all honesty, I think it's pretty good. I feel like it. I personally feel like it's better than anything I've flown in Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's for sure. I feel like in general, when I fly on DCS, I have less complaints about like the plane doing goofy stuff than I do with Flight Simulator. Where I have more issues with DCS is just the fact like flying formation and stuff with the let's play some with just a head tracker. I personally feel like flying formation in DCS is more difficult than it is flying in real life, to be completely honest.
Will chocks are in.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard really good things about the PMAX VR, and I think that would fix a lot of the issues that I have in terms of the head tracker causing me problems. Because where I run into issues is I use a Tobii eye tracker, but where I run into issues with that in terms of flying formation and stuff is like, yeah, I can slew my view around. I can look around, but like, say I'm flying at fingertip off the right side, I'm looking here at my lead. my head is cocked off to the left, but my eyes are like back to the right to look at the center of the screen. So it actually is kind of like really fatiguing on the eyes. And yeah, you do get used to it a bit, but again, it's still just kind of fatiguing on the eyes, and I feel like the lack of depth perception. It's just really hard to judge closure and stuff. Because again, in the T6 when I was an instructor in that, we flew two ship formation, fingertip, 10 feet away from the other aircraft and stuff, and I got to the point where it was second nature flying as two. The lead aircraft I became one with the lead aircraft. I don't want to be cocky, but it kind of looked like the Thunderbirds out there when we would fly as IPs together. We could keep a welded wing. But in game, it's just significantly more difficult. Yeah, I have curves set up on the eye tracker and everything. I found one that I like, and it does the trick for me. But I've also noticed, in general, a lot of the people that fly as lead they don't really fly the best lead platform, to be honest. Let me get rid of this here real quick. They don't fly necessarily the best lead platform. I've had it multiple times flying, and leads like, all right, let's turn right to heading 220, whatever, and they just like rip straight into like a 60-degree angle bank turn, like right into me. I'm like, dude, like you got to be predictable. Like, just slowly roll into that turn. There's no reason to, like, in fingertip, there's no reason to just rip straight into 60 degrees angle bank, 2G pole. It's like, man, you are trying to have a midair. So that's one thing. Adel, I think you're in the blacktails, right? One thing I'm potentially looking at setting up is maybe some weekend just basic like formation flying classes and stuff, just to practice basic formation, get everyone together. It hasn't just been the blacktail. Like, literally everyone I've flown with that's a lead. It's just something, unless you have it. Sorry, my phone is blowing up. Yeah, unless you have experience leading a formation, like in real life, you had a lot of training and stuff. It's just not something you necessarily think about. Being a stable, predictable platform for your wingman. Like I said, it's not throwing anyone under the bus or anything. But I feel like we could all make it easier on ourselves if our leads would in close formation maybe not be so aggressive. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to kind of incorporate that. My dream scenario, I don't know if everyone has the F5, but I think it'd be cool to like go out there in the F5 and like simulate its T-38 until the T-38 comes out. I did see that there's a T-38, a freeware T-38 on the way. Yeah, I was mentioning it's I don't know necessarily how to pronounce it, but is it Mojo? I was telling him about it earlier today that I was kind of thinking about potentially doing that, and he was like, "Yeah, I think that'd be great." Then also, I was thinking about maybe not necessarily making like a mandatory standards, but like kind of a formation comm plan, if you will, especially in the F5 where it's radio limited. Just kind of having a generalized plan that we can all kind of stick to, because I know yesterday it wasn't bad by any means, but there's a few times that I kind of got a little bit confused with like who was talking to who, because we're all on the same radio, talking to our wingman and everything. So I think coming up with just kind of hey, here's some comm guidelines to stick to, uh, help alleviate any confusion with who's talking to who, and then also clear up the radios a little bit too. Again, I know we're not trying to become like full milsim on there or anything, but it's just basic stuff that super easy to learn, and yeah, not a problem at all, man. Like I'm not ripping on anyone or anything like that. I know, again, it's not supposed to be like full milsim. We're out there having fun and stuff, but it seems like you guys are willing to learn and have fun. So I think incorporating that could be beneficial. Yeah, it happens. We're getting call signs. Um, I was in the lead formation. I believe it was Osprey, and I believe it was Jean had issues with his computer, just crashed on him, so I had to fall back to Kestrel flight. So I was like, man, who am I flying for now? Like I was Osprey 2, now I'm Kestrel 3. I sound like Growling Sidewinder. I think he has a lot more followers than I do. But yeah, I like adding a little bit of realism into the game and everything. But ultimately, I was telling the guys like, man, there's some of the units they take it a little too seriously. um, Ultimately, I'm not trying to have a second job here flying on DCS. Oh, nice, cool. Yeah, I appreciate the view. Yeah, I was confused. Like it was super confusing because like I said, I switched flights and I was three, and then while we were going after the second round of targets, two fell out. They bingoed out. So then I became two. So then we were calling like I'd be called Kestrel 2 sometimes, and it was Kestrel 3, at other times, and it was just a little confusing, and I think could be cleaned up a little bit. Oh, absolutely, yeah. We definitely don't need ranks. No, I agree. Like certain people that are more experienced probably should be the flight leads and stuff, uh, and the mission leads. You ever fly with GS? No, I haven't. I actually, so kind of my story with DCS. I've had it forever, and I flew it a good bit back in probably 2017 timeframe, but my computer was super slow, so I never really played multiplayer. Then I upgraded my PC, played for a bit, got busy. I've kind of had just like been in and out of flying DCS throughout. So with that, I I haven't really stuck to an airframe long enough to really feel confident enough to to go on many multiplayer servers. It just seems like I go on, I get started up, I go fly around, then get shot down. Because I just don't have the SA and the jet. I'm not familiar with it enough. I never really got into the bigger servers and stuff. I've kind of been more of a ground pounder. I usually go in. I'll go to through the Inferno or the Hoggett maps, and I'll go and I'll find the air to ground easy mission. That way I don't have to worry about getting shot down. I usually have fun with that. Yeah, I've never flown on Enigmas either. That looks like I've heard it's a good server as well. Well, I think I am gonna call it for the night. Um, Again, I might stream again in the morning. Uh, Obviously the weekend I have a little bit more time to get on here and fly around. Uh, but we'll just see what we as a family have planned for tomorrow. But in any case, tomorrow evening, maybe Sunday evening, I might hop on and might hop on with the Blacktails and see if anyone's down to do a little formation training. Don't hold me to it, but I would eventually like to make it kind of, maybe Friday night formation or something. Friday night formation practice. But yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll see you next time. And Ziel, real quick, before I hop off, you mentioned burgers and pizzas out there. So were you out of Kandahar at any point? Yeah, man. You have a good weekend as well. I'll keep in touch on the Blacktails Discord if I end up hopping on and flying at all. Well, thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed it, appreciate a like on the video. If you enjoy watching DCS content, plan to stream more in the future, so a subscription will get you more of that content. But otherwise, hope you enjoyed it. Go back and rewind through. I give my impressions of the map and everything. So go back, take a look at that. Go back, make fun of me air fueling, all that good stuff. But otherwise, just have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time. See ya.